for an hour and forgot that that means it wouldn't be 8 a.m. in Tuvalu until it was too late to look up where in the world it's 8 a.m. And welcome to Doctor Who, the 60th anniversary specials, Wild Blue Yonder, where it has been 5 long years, almost to the day. It's been about 4 years, 11 months. Actually, it's rounding up, it's been 5 years since there has been a proper, good, gripping episode of Doctor Who. And today we finally got one, my friends. Now, before we get into the depths of this episode, that will be interesting to review, because it's much more conceptual than, like, kind of chronologically going through it. A few things. First, I cannot believe that it totally just flew by me that Rose was trans. I knew she was non-binary. I mean, they said it, and I actually think I read it and then forgot about it by the time the episode came out. Because when they said in the episode, I'm like, oh yeah, they mentioned that. Yeah, I'm surprised though. But I mean, good. That's goals, right? That's what every trans person aspires to, surely, is not being able to tell. And in my defense, I missed the scene where they dead named Rose because I couldn't hear what the kids were saying on the TV. Right, that's part one out of the way. Well, also, no, that makes it even worse, by the way, what I was saying last episode, where the whole now I can be me, she was actually non-binary because of the doctor. Does that imply that she has, like, fully transitioned biologically, and she's not actually a non-binary, she's not actually female, she's male, and the doctor made her transition, now she's in the wrong body because... Look, we're done talking about how much that line in the last episode bothered me. Secondly, which also stands out, I didn't mention in my last review, the title sequence. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. That's because it's got a part missing. It's actually missing something. And when you know that and you listen again, you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't have, like, the main bit. Because there was supposed to be, like, a fancy logo thing that what was it? It was a full, like, 6 seconds or something they cut out because the effect couldn't be done in time. Really hope we get that back, because it'll probably greatly improve the intro sequence. And now I've got to line up that lovely frame I had prepared and accidentally streamed before going live. Yeah, no, I need a drink. Never taken 2 weeks off again. Yeah, this episode was great. I absolutely loved this episode. It was very, and I think a lot of people will say this, it was very reminiscent of Midnight, but I also think it was different enough from Midnight to not just be repeated. It was drawing on the same sort of things that made Midnight good. The fear of the unknown. I mean, basically, the helplessness. Heck, even, like, being somewhere that no one had ever been before. But, you know, that's very basic things. A story that's built on top of that. Actually, you could argue that what are the subtitles called them? The no-vims? The no-beings or something was, repeating in a very literal sense. But no, I think very practically, I think it was different enough from Midnight to me. And I like Midnight. I like Midnight. It's a great episode. And yeah, I was just so happy, like... The last episode was fine, you know, nothing special, but this was a proper, like, oh yeah, now that we've got the, like, narrative requirements, Donna's back, you know, we've done all this stuff, we can have a proper good episode. I absolutely adored it. I want to start off talking about this cold open, which I even told my wife in the middle of it, like, this is clearly something that Russell T. Davies came up with the gravity of the situation joke sometime after he left the show, and is like, damn, I want to write that into Doctor Who. And now that he's got another chance, he's not gonna miss it. That is what I have in my head. No, I love that. Already, the cold open, I think it was better than the last episode. Oh my god, my throat is killing me. Am I gonna have to do 2 hours? Yeah, no. I mean, I like that it makes sense that it's totally separated from, like, the episode afterwards. You could cut it and, like, nothing would be lost. But since the last episode and this one. But that's because this one works better not being interrupted in the cold open. Just conceptually, at, like, the high level, I felt the whole episode pretty much had just an air of uneasiness at, like, the lightest and dread at the worst. I think it was very well done. Just, I don't know enough to tell you why. Music, I don't know, lighting, pacing, whatever. I can tell you, I think part of it is editing, and certainly this whole sequence, where, you know, this was honestly the highlight of the episode. Like, oh my god, well done. Where you have this long sequence in here, and then randomly it's like a new conversation. Just felt really uneasy. And, you know, I thought it was a time cut, because the first thing they talk about is, like, I did what you asked, you know? And then they talk about how they're hungry, how it's getting colder, like time has passed. Oh my god, it was so well done, implying that, yeah, the thing that we just saw them do in the orange room caused the heating to go off. And just then the realization that they're simultaneous, like, the editing is uneasy. It doesn't quite work because it's just really weird when you think that there's only one Doctor and Donna, but then the realization that they're happening at the same time is like, oh my god. No, this whole thing, I love that, you know, Doctor Who has a budget now. Doctor Who has Disney money. I mean, these sets, this spaceship, I absolutely love. I think this is kind of as far as would have. 2 weeks ago, this is what I would have said the farthest I would have wanted Doctor Who to do with a budget. But now, they can do, like, this stuff. And, here we go. The scenes like this, where the Doctor and Donna, in presumably a real prop, are going down a corridor that is CGI, or, like, Mandalorian room, or whatever they're called. And the prop is probably hovering with CGI, with a giant CGI them chasing them and interacting with them. This is an expensive sequence. Whoops. Come on. Oh no, Disney, don't copyright strike me. Yeah, this is an expensive sequence, and it's tense, and it's terrifying. It's also, like, really dumb in the best way possible, that you just have these weird, giant, misshapen Dr. Donna. And I like that Doctor Who has a budget, but it's still sticking with, like, this is a rather absurd premise. And if you kind of step back from the horror elements, which, oh god, Doctor Who is always at its best when it does horror, is absurd. And I love that. And I love that we can pull it off. Like, sure, this one frame when it's paused, you know, it's not the greatest. And, like, yeah, we know it's CGI. In fact, I think the weakest part is this, I call them Mandalorian rooms. It's whatever that green screen replacement that the Mandalorian started using. If anything, I'd say that's the weakest part of the CGI. But, the production quality is high enough that, like, I can still be in it. I'm not taken out, by the quality of the CGI. And so I love that they seem to be using this budget to do these more absurdist things. And we know from the trailer tomorrow, is it a spoiler who the villain for tomorrow's episode is? I'll give it a pass, in case you don't know. I, for one, basically know how it's going to end from the leaks. But, yeah, we know we're going to get more crazy CGI stuff. We're probably going to get, like, Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange level stuff. And I mean, I don't think every episode should be that. I think every now and then we'll need an episode like the Meep one. First off, for just budgetary reasons. And also, we don't want it to just be visual spectacle. But all of this visual spectacle serve the story. I don't think there's a single bit in here that is just pure visual spectacle. It's just the story has a purpose. Even this huge long corridor, it has to be huge so these people can get huge, and it's long because they need to take like 3 years to walk down it. We see later the ship is huge, so normally, if you know me from the Star Trek stuff, I complain about overusing these big rooms, especially when this technology is so new that lets you create these big spaces like this so easily. I'm sorry, for the people who are new, what the hell are they called? Mandalorian room green screen monitor. Virtual sets, Mandalorian filmed with green screen. To choose LED walls. It has a name. What do they use instead of green screen? Stagecraft is a virtual on-set production. There we go. Now, hopefully I can stop calling them Mandalorian rooms. Yeah, no. The stagecraft, which if you don't know, like the walls and floor and maybe ceiling are LEDs. So, you know, the actors can actually see what's going on when they're on the stage. And I'm sure there's loads of post-production, but it's a lot easier to do crazy VFX stuff. And a lot easier to act with. I'm sorry, I've just become impressed by what I can only imagine this is hiding some cut between maybe like an actual David Tennant face and then one that's made more bigger and distorted, which is like, that's something I would do in my videos. Hey, it's the easy stuff. But no, we saw how big the spaceship is, and I don't mind it, because it makes sense that maybe they landed in what's essentially a highway that goes through this really long spaceship. I mean, I don't remember where they showed the outside. But Doctor Who has also gone way more into the future. It's a lot more fantastical than something like Star Trek, so I don't mind more mega structures if, you know, the story demands it. Hello there, General Grievous. Welcome back. I'm glad you liked last week enough to come back for another round. I realize we're getting kind of late in the UK. Were you the one from Poland? I bring up the UK because it's Doctor Who, you know, that's the biggest audience. But hopefully we don't get too late. I think it's still all right for Europe. It's a Saturday. Europe can stay up a little bit on a Saturday for this. But yeah, no, I got, what else we got? Another small detail what's on my mind. We finally got confirmation on what the heck the Flux did. Where apparently half the universe is just gone. Which sure, contradicts Flux, where only Earth and, like, Time were the only planets in the entire universe. But Flux, I think, is stated to be 3 separate things, all of which are mutually exclusive. They're totally separate and it can't be both. So, you know, I don't mind that. I wonder how much of the universe has been destroyed in Doctor Who. Because we got half of it now. Just, I'm sure, luckily, not any of the half that any of the beloved races are from. But then the Master also destroyed a good chunk of the universe in Legopolis. Master, how much universe destroyed? Logopolis. I doubt I can find this soon, but it was a lot. A quarter. So the Master, when the 4th Doctor regenerated, destroyed a fourth of the universe. And then Jodie, during Jodie's run, we destroyed presumably half of what's left. So 0.5 times 0.75. There we go. Plus 0.25. So, since William Hartnell's days, the universe is now 37.5% its original size, and that's being generous. At worst, it's a quarter. Okay, so we've only got, like, 14 more regeneration, like 7 before we run out of universe to destroy. Oof, could you imagine? Okay, I'm going to talk more about this next week. I alluded to it last week, but if you don't know, there have been leaks that have basically just been confirmed about the Christmas special, about the previous episode, and the next episode. Everything it said about the Meep episode, except, like, Meep's pronouns, was right. The basic premise of the Christmas episode is also right, and all the names of the episodes are right. Basically, they're right. And so I know, at least like on paper, in terms of bullet point things, how the next episode is going to end. I know, at least in theory, that'd be kind of funny if you did a major leak, but intentionally did a lot of wrong stuff about the last one. I also know the resolution with Donna, who, is not in the next season. They're just here for the specials. I know why they're not in the next season. And I know how we go from 14 to 15. I can see us getting there. I can see the setup that's been taking place and like the little arc we're doing. I see how it's going to come together. I think the Doctor having seen like literally 2/3 of the universe destroyed during his lifetime, and because of his travels, that's not a bad point against where this series is going. Don't worry, I don't know the details. Like, it's either going to be genuinely the worst plot of Doctor Who ever, or you recycled, or like some weird middle spot. It's gonna be one of those two. No spoilers. I said we're not gonna go too spoilery. Also, I know another bit of speculation was that Matt Smith would be in this episode, which I was really excited for, even though I didn't believe he would be. It was like right before I'm like, ooh, Matt Smith, because he recently turned around. Matt Smith, like since he left the role of the Doctor, he's always gone. I absolutely loved it. When he's asked, like every Doctor actor, if he would return, he'd been like, oh, yeah, like that would be fun. That'd be great. I think they've, like him, Amy, and Rory have always had the requirement of like the other two would also have to show up. But recently he was interviewed at like some panel, and he gave a response of like, well, I don't know. Like I don't think I would, basically. Which is a complete 180 from like a decade of what he said previously. So a lot of people were like, he's in the 60th, like because the BBC have told him not to say he's in it. But who knows? Maybe he's just doing Big Finish. Because River Song, Alex Kingston is also harboring a big Doctor Who secret, and their Big Finish range just ended. But Big Finish is very adamant they're going to keep doing stuff with her. So, anyways, we've gone a few tangents. I think I'm just going to start going through chronologically. And, oh my goodness, how long have you not been able to see this? It's a good thing I don't show anything critical on the screen. But, yeah. No, we'll go through chronologically. We'll see what springs to mind. And also feel free to ask questions and whatever. Say what you thought, because that's usually what drives the streams, I've found. I already talked about this set. No, I also gave it some benefit of the doubt that, like, we don't know what this ship is. For all we know, this is the big barrel of a gun, and it would make sense. Or there was some weird shenanigans going on. Dang it, I've decided the villain of the next episode is a spoiler. So I can't say. But, I guess, yeah, I still say this is probably just some sort of, like, highway, that goes down the middle of this massive ship. We got the line from the trailer that we knew was coming because of the trailer. Still a great line, though. But no, we've got Russell T. Davies back. I thought this whole sequence, and there were a good few, actually making me care about the Flux. Good few character moments of like this bit where the Doctor and Donna think they lost the TARDIS, which I'm very glad to see. I keep wanting to talk about next episode. No, I'm very glad to see. I thought the Doctor was great. I thought their relationship was great. I thought it really helped show the bonds they have. Like, we remembered the Hads, which we've been remembering more often than not. Well, I wouldn't say that, but we've been remembering more often. Since, like, the 11th Doctor, I think. Since Clara, really. But no, yeah, I liked as well followed up later on here, um, where the whole bit about what Rose, God, his husband does have a name, her husband has a name, and Wilf would do. And I absolutely loved the payoff at the end. It took me a little bit to realize that Wilf genuinely was just sitting there at the spot the TARDIS dematerialized. God, it was great to see Wilf. But yeah, I mean, good, solid character work. Character-driven stories, and a big event. Heck, an event happened to your characters, and they reacted to it. I've missed Doctor Who. Look, eventually we'll stop giving Chibnall hate, and I'm sure that time will be at least season 14. You know, it'll maybe the Christmas special I might get some digs in, but then I'll get over it, you know. After Regeneration. Moving on, I like this robot design. Like, it's real big and chonky. It just felt different. Something about it, like the top heaviness. I guess it didn't really have to move much, so you could be a little more out there with how you design the robot. But yeah, and I also want to say, this corridor, I think if you want to do the like white sci-fi look, you know, that's pretty popular nowadays, I think this is how you do it. Because the TARDIS, when it's got all the lights on, and to a degree, even when it doesn't, is the most generic I think we've ever seen a TARDIS, because it is that pure white, clinical, generic sci-fi. It's still the TARDIS, which is incredibly iconic, so that helps. But a lot of it is just, if you, like, just didn't look at the console room, it would probably feel pretty generic. It's got the windiness, it's not completely generic, but this, just the sort of, I guess it's age, but those kind of yellowing, rust-esque, these big metal bits that are sticking out, this doesn't feel generic. I mean, it's just a spaceship. I think it works a lot better than, even outside of Doctor Who, like, I was gonna say Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, but they didn't do white, did they? I don't know, it's just, I like this a lot better than, better than the TARDIS, honestly. I would not complain. Like, remove this big machinery. But if these curved walls, it's very reminiscent of, like, 910's TARDIS anyway. I would not have complained if a scaled-down version of... But screw it, it's the TARDIS. You don't even have to scale it down. Just that was the corridors. Going on. Big empty room. The Doctor kind of BS'd his way through learning this computer operating system, but you know, at least they attempted it, and he is the Doctor. He's got, at this point, 2,000 years of experience, /4 billion, depending on how you want to look at it. You know, at least they gave it a shot. But yeah, now we kind of get into more of the proper mystery. We'd already set up some other pieces. But yeah, if there's a weak element of this plot, I actually would say it's the airlock thing, where when I heard about the airlock, I went, okay, so the crew left, probably committing suicide. There is nowhere for them to go. Now, like, the ship is empty. It clearly should have a crew, and we've established that there are no life signs. And it was kind of weird to me that they both jumped to the conclusion that something entered before they even knew that something was on the ship. And that was treated as kind of like a big reveal. That, you know, actually, it was supposed to be a subversion of expectations. You saw something came in, actually something left. It was also weird that they seemed to assume that creatures who literally had no substance needed to use the airlock. Creatures literally out of this universe. But that's a minor... That's pretty minor, all things considered. It did make the resolution a little underwhelming, because it's like, oh, I knew this already. But I don't think it really hurts the journey, or even the rest of the ending, honestly. So, like, if that is my biggest gripe, then it's a good episode, you know? Midnight had an exposed green screen in it, just saying. It's true, Google it, Midnight green screen. Also, go back to Blink. I can't easily stream it. At the end of the stream, I might show you this, but if you go back and watch Blink, the scene where Sally and what's-his-face enter the TARDIS for the first time, the bottom, like, third of the screen is literally just underneath the set of the TARDIS, and once you see it, you will go, oh my god, how did I never notice? I will never unsee that. And then what's the other one? There's a green screen somewhere else, but I can't remember. That's true. Look it up. Blink, when they enter the TARDIS, there's just exposed set. Doctor Who Blink under TARDIS set. I genuinely... Yeah, there we go. I had to check that this was actually the episode. This is Blink. That's just under the set. That's just under the set. That's in the episode. I'm simultaneously baffled, but also I didn't notice for like a decade or two until it was pointed out. Oh, hey, look. Here's the view of the ship. But yeah, it's long. I'm sorry I have to... I'm worried about copyright anyways. That's why I have to flash that on and off. But Disney scares me. Never mess with Disney's copyright. But yeah, we still... It's still just kind of generally an air of mystery and uneasiness. Donna, I'm sorry. Catherine Tate does not lend herself to being paused on random frames. And I was still, at this point, I was engaged with the story. I wanted to know where it was going. I still had all the unsettlingness. Just kind of end of the universe as well. Whoops, the end of the universe stuff. But this is, as I said before, where it gets the meat of the episode. And again, good humor. I think I praised this last episode, the one where he licks it and kind of starts pretending to die. I love the gravity of the situation. I'm like that. I also said it in unison with him to my wife. There were a few bits where, Wilf, just sitting there at the end, just like Donna said. No thermos, unfortunately. You're gonna lose points for that, Russell. But yeah, no, this is the real meat. And yeah, I enjoyed this story. I'm really loving Donna as a mother. I don't think we've really seen a companion settle down before, have we? Like Amy and Rory, but they kept traveling with the Doctor. Have we ever had a companion with a child? And no, I'm not counting Amy. Because I don't think we have. Sarah, I'm not counting either. Because she wasn't traveling with the Doctor. Yeah, I don't think we had. And so I'm really liking not just the familial element, which we've had before, that's a staple of New Who, but that there's a child, someone the companion depends on. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that in an active companion. Actually, you know what I'd love? I would love a companion and their child. I don't know, maybe one of the parents dies in the first episode. I don't know. I think you'd probably have one parent, a family might work. But I think that could be really fun. That might even be unique enough that you could still have it be a contemporary companion. Like in New Who, we're still dying for a companion who isn't from modern day Earth. But I would love to see that dynamic in the TARDIS where you have, they still want to adventure. They want to show the kid the universe. They also want to see the universe. But you have, I'm amazed we haven't done this before. You have that care and that need to protect the child. So I just naturally, Donna doesn't even really want to adventure. She just wants to go home to Rose because that's where she's happy. I'm really liking this dynamic. And she shows it on these adventures. Like, you get with her, she wants to go home. And just be with her family. That's where she belongs. I want to watch this scene again, knowing what they are, because the doctor's comment of like, hey, it's that frame. That's right, we get hungry. I went, oh, are we kind of saying that like the TARDIS, when you time travel, it just means you don't get hungry, or you stick with like it does something to your hunger because your inner clock is so messed up? But no, it's because that's a no being. What the hell did it call them? I'm playing with a dime, I know. TARDIS Wiki Wild Blue Yonder. TARDIS Wiki. Enemies, not things. That was it. Thank you, TARDIS Wiki. It may not be as good as Memory Alpha, but when it comes to the episodes, it gets you what you want to know. Yeah, no, this scene was amazing. The reveal that you can kind of see what's coming if you're paying attention when she says her arms are too long, and you realize something's wrong, and that the frame has never cut below to her elbows. Yeah, no, I love how the CGI was done as well in this. So just look at him. He's like so depressed and weird. Tennant's acting as well, and I didn't really notice it in Catherine Tate so much, but when the not Doctor is absorbing more of the Doctor, there's this beautiful scene at the end where it's one of these where the Doctor is kind of the Doctor is kind of figuring things out. He's realizing it. I think it's actually this look where we cut to see the not Doctor, who gives a bit of a smile when our Doctor's actually working it out. Like, it's the subtle thing, like when the Doctor is impressed by their companion. It's like a really small smile. And it's like the not Doctor is proud of like, yeah, that's me, look how clever I am, kind of thing. And I absolutely loved the just that tiny piece of acting from David Tennant there of like, oh yeah, that's me, I am good. I know, I love the sense, somewhat reminiscent of the Almost People with the gangers and stuff of the 11th Doctor, where the not things believe they are actually the Doctor and Donna, you know, and are they even? Like, if they have all the memories, are they just the Doctor and Donna? It's not quite the same, because they clearly have memories and experiences outside being the Doctor Donna. They mention remembering being nowhere, seeing the universe from outside. They clearly have different motivations from the Doctor and Donna. But it, like, fundamentally against the nature of the Doctor and the Donna. But I think it just really added to the unease of, like, they are us. In genuinely replacing us. That's often very good groundwork for a story. You know, the sort of changeling-esque. There are plenty of sci-fis that have good changeling stories. But I think as well, just the fact that they are nowhere. They are literally nowhere. There is no TARDIS, no Sonic. Thank God. Remember last week, when I was lamenting that it looks like the Sonic was just going to be a get out of jail free card. This is why I don't want the Sonic to be too powerful in so many people. Because this, I mean, I don't think you could have told the story the same with the Sonic. I just don't think you could have. Especially a Sonic that can create shields and that weird computer thing it has. Like, no. This was a hands-on Doctor being clever. But also, yeah, just the fact that there's nowhere to run, they are trapped and it is just the Doctor, Donna, and the Not Things. I can't praise just the atmosphere of this episode enough. But I also like that it had room for the occasional joke. And where Midnight is like a proper psychological horror, like don't watch that before bed kind of thing, it's lost its edge a little bit over so many rewatches, I'll admit. But this one's not as bad. Like you can get unnerved and uneasy without really the proper terror, which personally is good. Like, this isn't... I always say Doctor Who is at best when it does horror, but I don't really know that you should ever be able to call Doctor Who horror. The psychological horror of Midnight, maybe, but, like, as a kid, I really couldn't handle horror. I really couldn't. But Doctor Who is, like, the one place where I enjoyed it, with, like, the gas mask child, I remember. And God, what else really scared me? I'd have to look at some of those older episodes. I mean, basically anything Moffat did back in the day. Oh God, aren't we getting another Moffat episode? Has that been confirmed yet? That Moffat's gonna write an episode for Russell T Davies, or is that just speculation? I can't remember, but I would love another dream team like that. But yeah, here's the other one. Yeah, just with the flux and everything that's going on with the Doctor, and like, yeah, half the universe destroyed. Thanks, Russell, for bringing back the half of the universe. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh my God, dang it! This is why we shouldn't make digs at Chibnall. Oh my God. Oh yeah, no, I like just seeing. I mean, David Tennant's Doctor was always kind of hurting from the Time War and stuff. He's now hurting from something else, but I'm really dodging around things with next episode. I think I'm getting a little more faith that I'm gonna the ending we're going with for next episode is actually gonna be satisfying. As opposed to genuinely the worst thing in the franchise. I think I'm liking the direction that they're taking this Doctor. And I'm a little upset he's not as different as the 10th Doctor as I might have liked, especially considering the circumstances they happen to have found themselves in. Both of them being shortly after a catastrophic event in their life, the Time War and the Flux. But God, man, my memory's not there today. But I like that they're at least paying service to it. I think it's probably the right way to go, especially with only 3 episodes with this Doctor. That he should have been recognizably David Tennant. And I think they've leaned a little more recognizable than would have gone. And they're more, I don't want to say just paying lip service to the idea that he's changed, because he has changed. He's more vocal about expressing his emotions. He's into men now, overtly. I'm with Donna, that was always there. I remember Ncuti Gatwa had a statement where he said he was going to be the first gay Doctor, which I had misinterpreted to mean he was going to be the first Doctor who was gay, not the first actor to play the Doctor who is gay. Because it was baffling, because at the time Jodie was a lesbian. But I was like, actually, I think like every Doctor, like modern Doctor, just was into anything. But no, I think we're probably seeing as much of the differences as we can in these 3 episodes that we're going to get with him. And I think it is what I said before, and this conversation kind of cemented it for me, where I said if you watch all of Tennant's stuff and then skip straight to the 60th specials, it should feel jarring. It should be recognizable, but it should really feel like you've missed out on the 1,000+ years that happened to this character, and the recovery of his homeworld, the torture of him by his homeworld, and then the subsequent destruction of his homeworld, that I think you will. And not just the fact that they're referencing Flux. As I said, my wife was kind of with me with this episode, and he was like, I'm from Gallifrey. And Donna was like, no, you're not. And Alex looked with me, and I'm like, no, yeah, it did get complicated. Like, Alex said, believe me, it's an understatement to say Gallifrey got complicated since you last watched. I don't even think Alex watched him save Gallifrey, my God. But I feel it's there. Like, yeah, not just in the statements, but how he is and how he's reacting. Like, he's the last of the Time Lords, but after having not been for a little bit. Yeah, he thinks Missy is dead as well. Man, just wiping Sacha Dhawan's master out of memory there. Yeah, no, sorry. What did happen to Dhawan? Oh my God, I can't remember. They probably just, like, ignored him in Flux. Chat, what happened to the Master in Power of the Doctor, rather? He was there when Jodie got hit by the alien, and then they probably just forgot about him? That sounds like Chibnall. And yeah, even the hope of, like, Donna, is that you? The Doctor is worried in this episode. Which they've been worried in a lot of the past 5 episodes. I know, I did another dig. But that also just really helps elevate the stakes. When the Doctor is scared and not Jodie Whittaker, that means something. When was the last time the Doctor was scared before Jodie? Did Capaldi do scared? Capaldi went blind, and I'm not sure he was scared. Yeah, no, I'm loving this. And it didn't just feel like a 10th Doctor episode either. Like, even though it was Dr. Donna, I don't know, the production value, the costumes, the explicit references to the 11th, 12th, and 13th Doctors. But I like that. Doctor Who's back. I mean, that's just it. Doctor Who's back. With a lot of sets as well, I'm realizing. Like, this episode had a lot of sets. Their little green screen room is probably helping, but also just the budget. I'm so looking forward to 15 next episode. He's gotta be in next episode. Well, one way or another, he's gonna be in next episode because there's gonna be a regeneration. But, I'm so looking forward to 15. After that shot we got recently from the Christmas special, like, him and Ruby, oh my God, I'm looking forward to those two. Yeah, what was in here? I just love that. I thought we were making a reference because one of them mentioned games. It's like, I want to go to the universe and play your games. I've decided the enemy of the next episode is not a spoiler. If you don't want to know who the enemy of the next episode is, I don't know, come back when I've put this screen down. I thought they were going to bring the toy maker in now. Like, Meep had referenced a boss, who I think that's going to come up in 15's run sometime. But I thought that this was also going to be something of the toy maker's game, like they were his players. Because in the original episode, like back in with William Hartnell, the toy maker had like people who had lost his games before is kind of like playthings in the games with new people. So I thought maybe like in that episode, the toy maker, the Doctor defeats the toy maker and like banishes him to nothing, literally, and he has to rebuild his universe so he can exist again. Like, the toy maker's immortal, he can't die, but the Doctor destroys the toy maker's universe. Don't worry, it was just the toy maker in there and his victims. But I thought this was like the toy maker coming back. Like, the No Things were toy maker's playmates, and maybe they will. Like, they still have time to do that. But I thought that's where they were going. And I was like, ooh, I'm clever. I realized the connection. Yeah, what else have we got in here? I found it kind of weird in this scene where, they, yeah, finally, for once, referenced the captain is he, she, they, because they don't know, and then the doctor just went she, or rather her. How did the doctor know that? Because maybe he read it in like a captain's log, but I get it kind of reads as this species, male and female, look different. Acknowledging that I've assumed the species is has a sexual binary, but you know, like a lot of animals. I mean, heck, a human bones you can tell like male or female. And like I was like, did you just try to acknowledge that like gender is a bit more fluid, and then look at that alien sex and assume their gender? Because that read a little weird to me. Like, what if the captain was a trans alien? Donner should probably know this, having a trans non-binary daughter. But anyway, I might have just misinterpreted that or missed something, but that scene did read weird to me. Another thing I think is a bit more of a nitpick is I thought it was odd that the doctor could outrun the doctor. I kind of excused it as like, well, you know, he's new to the whole body thing. Maybe he's a little slower. He can't quite hit the peaks as I'm the doctor. I run for the past 4 billion years of my life. But that was a little nitpick, and I could justify it. So, you know, I'm willing to ignore it. If this is the sort of plot hole, quote unquote, that Russell T Davies introduces to his stories, because he's always been more character than plot, acknowledging this was a fantastic episode, then I'm not going to complain. I'm also going to check who wrote this. That I see it in the thumbnail there. Yes, this is actually Russell T Davies' work. Does anyone know if the writer's room has been maintained since Chibnall's day? Like, is this Russell and the writer's room, or is this just Russell T Davies wrote an episode? And yeah, I mean, I liked all this, how they thought, I thought they might leave it like the Rebel Flesh did, where you don't actually know if you got the real doctor or the flesh doctor until he regenerates later. But I thought they might be like, you don't know if that's the real Donna or not, or like he got the wrong Donna and later on we realize in the next episode. But I'm happy with how it turned out. And I mean, yeah, just Donna standing brave in the like face of certain death, never seeing her family again, or heck, even worse, that no thing seeing the family again. Yeah, no, the character work was great, the tone was great, the atmosphere was great. This was a fantastic episode of Doctor Who. And yeah, I don't know, put some pictures. Like, every one of these shouldn't be a light. I don't know. This TARDIS has so much potential, but just a little bit of personality. And I like already, you know, look, they're using this. They're using the space to like walk around. I think I read recently someone was saying the reason Capaldi's TARDIS is the best isn't just because it's the best design. It's because it had all that space and they actually used it. And they referenced before the flood, you know, the Beethoven's, who wrote Beethoven, that sequence, where the doctor starts on the upper floor, like reading a book. And then as he's talking, he walks along to go write something on the chalkboard. And then when he's done on the chalkboard, he goes down the stairs to circle the console room. And I think, like, pick up his guitar or something. And then he circles around the console room and he walks down the side underneath it to go plug it into an amp. And then he plays Beethoven's Fifth. It's like the whole scene uses that entire space and they move around it. And I think that's a strength that this TARDIS definitely has. It just doesn't have a better design than the Capaldi one. in my opinion. But it's close. I think I'm gonna love this TARDIS. And let's see what Shooty does with it. I think that I've seen the prevailing reaction is basically, this is a great TARDIS. There's a decent, I don't really like it. It's too clinical and white, which makes sense because it's too clinical and white. But the general consensus is I like it, but I really hope with 15 they treat it like a blank slate that slowly gets filled in over time as it's lived in, because that's what it is. This console room, this TARDIS, is like an empty house that hasn't been lived in yet. And I hope the writers realize that that's what it is and they start living in it. And I like this time rotor. I saw recently a concept for like a season 27 7th Doctor TARDIS where it wasn't connected at the bottom. I think that would have improved this design, but there's something underneath there, isn't there? Like the console's connected to the floor, if I remember correctly. And there we go. Yeah, we were all waiting for it. We're ready to see Mott. I'm great. I mean, it's just Wilfred Mott again. Everyone's getting into their roles so seamlessly after all this time. And like, yeah, he's older, but it's been 15 years. Yeah, he's older. And of course, the actor, Bernard... Oh my god, I got this. I didn't know last time. Cribbins, isn't it? It's something like that. Of course, this is his last acting role. He passed away a few months ago. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the next episode. And from the trailer, we know we got some more stuff. We've got... the stream's basically done if you don't want trailer-level spoilers. But we're gonna see Unit. We've got Kate. We know... something's up with the whole raise. Hey, I said the enemy wasn't an episode. So we got Toymaker shenanigans. We got... I mean, you saw that. I don't know. It's weird because, like, it is pretty tantalizing. Like, the invasion, we'll call it, has happened already. Like, they need to be saved. It's not that they are going to. They need to be saved. But... it's fine until, like, the TARDIS arrives, and then things start going weird. People start going crazy. And from the trailer, Kate has the line, like, how are we supposed to fight the whole of humanity? So we can assume that the Toymaker is somehow controlling humanity or making them go mad or whatever. Like, he presumably saw the Doctor arrived, and then, bam, he made everyone go crazy around him. But London doesn't look too bad. Is this London? Chiswick? It doesn't look too bad. Chiswick, that was it. Chiswick doesn't look too bad. And yeah, I mean, it feels really weird after... when was Power? Power of the Doctor. I have it on Blu-ray, so probably a while ago. October 22. So yeah, like 14 months. Hey, look at that. After the regeneration, and 3 weeks after the episode that we're gonna have another regeneration. God, it's like the 5th Doctor after you've just sat through all of the 7th Doctor. But, it feels weird. It's almost like I want more of this Doctor, even though I could technically go watch Tennant. But, as I just said, he's a different Doctor. Like, he's just experienced so much more, and he's minorly different, like, in terms of personality, but I'm surprised to say I'm sad to see him go. Like, as excited as I am for Shooty, right now I almost feel more upset to see the Doctor go. He's leaving too early. I've never watched a Doctor in time with the rest of the world, like live, until Jodie, who I didn't care for. Season 11 was the first one. Actually, I think I bought it on Blu-ray, but I could have watched it live. Season 12 was the first one I watched live. I believe I watched all of 12. BBC America was god-awful. I'm so glad I don't have to deal with their streaming anymore. It's literally more commercial than episode. And I think I just bought Flux, or I don't remember how I got Flux. I think I had it on the universe somehow. But yeah, I just missed Capaldi, but I've always kind of known when it was going to end. I've always entered a doctor knowing exactly how long I have until that doctor is gone. And I know, when the doctor's going to regenerate. Like, it's never been a secret. Almost. Sorry, Eccleston. But, well, I guess 8, that was technically a surprise. But, you don't know how long you're going to be. And with Jodie, it was more a sense of dread. Like, Big Finish might be able to give her proper stories and, like, redeem her eventually. But, I was less worried about Jodie. I wanted Chibnall gone. I wanted Chibnall gone. And I kind of wanted Jodie gone, not because I wanted Jodie gone, but because I wanted whoever was after Chibnall to have a fresh slate, to do whatever they want, not kind of carry over any baggage, so to say. Though I wouldn't have complained too much if we actually got to see Jodie under a proper writer. Yeah, I said it. But, yeah, this is my first, like, contemporary I'm watching ahead. And it's kind of exciting to know that, well, Russell's going to be on for at least 4 seasons. So, can we assume the fourth fourth. The 15th Doctor is as well. I don't know. I don't know how long he wants to stay in the role. It's exciting. But yeah, I see Josh the Nerd. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I'm going to miss 14. And it might be interesting to see some Big Finish stuff. Because, Tennant always gives some time every now and then to Big Finish. And so does Donna, but you can give him a new companion. I'm gonna miss him. And let's hope next week isn't the worst plot line in the history. It's so weird to say that after, like, the Timeless Child, but yeah, I think it's gonna work out, at least all right enough. Do we want to talk about the leaks? Do we want to say we're entering leak zone? I don't know if I want to do that. No, let's just save it till next episode. Like, I don't know. This episode gave me a lot more faith in Russell. The leaks aren't promising. They're plot points as opposed to watching the episode, which is very different. Was it like Day of the Doctor? Or maybe it was like something else entirely. Not even Doctor Who, that had like a plot leak that everyone hated. Oh, that was right. It was Endgame. Endgame had its plot leaked before the movie. And like everyone hated it. And then they watched it and it was like, actually, when you watch it, as opposed to just read the bullet point list of what happens, it's great. So I'm kind of hoping that's what we're going for. And, Russell T Davies isn't an idiot. He loves and cares for this franchise, so he's not going to do anything bonkers. Even Chibnall wouldn't have done what, like, the worst case scenario is, so, yeah. I think, though, this week was so good. I need to turn off these reaction things because they get in the way of chat. Was so good. No, this week was sick, so got faith in next week. Oh, yeah. I'll say it. I'm not going to do a big leak, but even from the trailers, we know the 15th Doctor is in this episode, the next episode. I think he's in a good chunk of next episode. Both just context you can derive from the trailer and things you can derive from what I know of the leak. I think it would be fun. Like, that's our multi-doctor, is 14 and 15. I think it's fun to have a multi-doctor where a future doctor is in it. I don't think we'll get, like, Smith. Capaldi would amaze me, just in general, if Capaldi ever comes back. And Eccleston's not going to do it either. So, Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to really get Smith for like the most cameo of cameos, where like is a joke. You know, in the Mine Robber, when the actor who played Jamie got chicken pox, so they had to randomly change the actor. You basically have to do that to be like, I don't know, for these next 2 minutes, the Doctor is Matt Smith. I don't think I'd be totally against it, but that is the fan service of fan service. That's the Five Doctors level of fan service. That's beyond. That's an insult to the Five Doctors, actually. And Mel. We get Mel, don't we? I think Mel's only been confirmed for the next season, but I think you see her in the trailers on like Unit Tower. So presumably they're gonna go right to Unit. We're gonna get Mel right away. So we're looking at an episode with David Tennant, Catherine Tate, Bonnie Langford, Ncuti Gatwa, and sadly not Matt Smith. But yeah, no, I think that's gonna be good. And like, I think at worst, what's gonna happen is it's gonna feel like a very recycled plot. The resolution to like how we go from 14 to 15, but I think there's a good amount of groundwork in these first 2 episodes, knowing where we're going, that I think you can justify it. It might be a bit weird. There's even Josh, you're active in chat. You're basically the only one here. Do you want me to talk about the leaks? I'll talk about the leaks if you want, but I will not if you don't want. That would be cool if 15 isn't a good chunk of it, yeah. No, I think it's multi-doctor 14, 15. That's not been confirmed. I think we know it's a little over an hour. I think very quickly we get multi-doctor 14, 15. Well, yeah, we've had comments with like David Tennant has apparently acted off Ncuti Gatwa, I think. To Catherine Tate, I think it's multi-doctor. It's which would be fun. I think that's fun. Let's have it. I get why we haven't done it before. Have a future Doctor be the multi-doctor. I remember Capaldi's eyebrows. That was cool. But like it almost would have been great if Russell T Davies was also writing the last season. Is if we had an episode with the 13th Doctor and the 15th Doctor, because this is probably like the only time that we'll have doctors close enough together where you can have a future Doctor be in a multi-doctor episode. Yeah, it should be good. At the very least, I think it's gonna be good with a dumpster fire of the last like 5 minutes. But no, I think the fan base is getting nervous because the leaks, when you put it into words, the worst case scenario is very worst. Do you remember how everyone felt when suddenly Chris Chibnall had the Master say like everything is gonna change? We're gonna completely rewrite the canon of Doctor Who, and everyone was like, uh-oh. That's kind of the vibes, you know? Theoretically, it could be fine, but like it could also be disastrous. But no, I don't think Russell T Davies would ever do the disaster case. And Josh has not signaled that they would like me to talk about leaks. So I'm not going to talk about the leak. If you really want, you can Google it, but I don't know why you would want to. I'm impatient. People were talking about it, and I could basically know everything already. I love watching old shows. This is why I wish I didn't... If the internet didn't exist, well, my problem would go away. But, like, my favorite shows have always been the ones I don't know anything about. Like, when I watched Star Trek, I knew, you know, a good chunk about, like, TNG. You hear a lot about it. I think I knew a bit about Voyager, like the basic premise. There's a lot of complaints about like how it uses the reset button and its storytelling. But Deep Space Nine, I like had not heard a single word about. And the only thing I heard about Enterprise was that its theme song was bad and that was wrong. And those were probably my 2 favorite shows to watch through because I literally knew nothing. I was blind. And it was so good, especially Deep Space Nine, knowing nothing. I miss that. I'm not going to get that for Doctor Who again unless I enter a coma for a while. But yeah. I'm curious of the rumor. Okay. Everybody, beep, what's that? Cloister. Doctor Who Cloister Bell. 1 sec. Cloister Bell. Hopefully
Let's
it's not
say I'm a biology student.
Hang on. Get rid of Grammarly. Hang on. There we go. Hang on. There we go. All right, everyone, leave. We're entering spoilers. I'm about to tell you how tomorrow's episode is going to end. If you don't want to know how tomorrow's episode is going to end, how, like, plot points, leave. Why is this cloister bell so slow? Come on, the cloister's faster than that, isn't it? That's it. Okay, everyone's done, right? We're now going to talk about the leak. Okay. Chat, in case someone joins us. We are talking about major leaks. There we go. Okay. I'm curious of the rumor of the bioregeneration, but don't know anything about it. Yes, I think it's a multi-doctor story. The rumor goes into more detail on why the bioregeneration happens, but basically, 13th Doctor somehow, I know how, but somehow regenerated into 14 and 15? Or rather, yeah, no, that's the way it would go. Or somehow 14 regenerates into 14 and 15. Actually, it could be either. This is where we get, like, the what the hell is going on here scene from the trailer. And that's why we have a multi-doctor of 14 and 15, is the 14th and 15th Doctor basically have to team up. I'm now going to get to the big one, right? This is how next episode ends. Okay? We're about to talk about the resolution of next episode. And the thing that's people have been talking about from the leak that's the potentially worrying one. Supposedly, if the leak is to be believed, basically, at the end, we have a 14th and 15th Doctor. And this is the real confusion, is we don't know exactly, like, who's the main Doctor. It's not clear if 15 is basically a new person who just takes up the mantle of the Doctor, if 14 and 15 were both Doctors, like, 1 to 13, and 14 and 15 are just both that person, but they're now different people, if that makes sense. Or if somehow 15 splooshes out of 14 is like a new Doctor, but with all the memories before. Like, technically a different person, but with all the memories of the previous person he was. Knowing Russell, my faith is that it's the middle one, where, like, they're both the Doctor, because we have to follow the main Doctor, right? But basically, they're gonna defeat the Toymaker. Ooh, spoilers. But the Doctor, 14th Doctor, sorry, basically chooses to retire and, like, try a settled down life with Donna and her family. And then is like the prize from winning the Toymaker's game. He asks for a new TARDIS, which, right, I think this is actually going to be the part I disagree with the most, is the new TARDIS. But, which I mean, if that happens, I'll get into it in next episode. But then we continue with the adventures of the 15th/1st Doctor, depending on how the regeneration happens. Which doesn't sound great, but some people point out that's basically the meta-crisis resolution, which is why it's probably just going to feel recycled, is, the Doctor regenerated into a new Doctor that then just bunged off and lived with Rose for a bit. And I can never imagine that one happy, because the meta-crisis Doctor isn't the Doctor she loved, it's the Doctor she loved with half of it being Donna Noble. Oof. But, wow, that's interesting. See, I've just told you the leaks. But I mean, you asked for it. Almost like Metacrisis, but 15 comes out of it somehow. But see, I feel I wouldn't like that, because there's almost a feeling that this is a new person, and I don't think Doctor Who should ever become a new person. It should always be the Doctor that we follow. That's just something I believe. That's an opinion. But yeah, so the thing is, people are afraid that basically the Doctor we know is going to die, and we're going to follow some new guy. I don't think that's going to happen, because it makes sense, logically, right? Like, this next season is season 1. This is as much of a reboot as you can get with this show for new audiences who left during, like, Clara and just need to be come back. And the whole thing is, like, it's going to drop all the baggage. If we abandon the Doctor, then we lose all the baggage. But, like, in practice, I don't see what we've lost. We already believe Mel is in next season, so it'd be weird to get a classic companion back already. And by God, we can't kill the Doctor off before meeting Susan again. But you haven't really lost anything. We've still got the TARDIS. We've still got regeneration. You can't get rid of regeneration. But we still live in a world mainly with Daleks and Cybermens and Sontarans, and the Doctor, I feel like losing knowledge of that, the Doctor doesn't work. The Doctor needs his knowledge to fly the TARDIS. So if this is a new person, 15, or essentially a new first Doctor, they're going to have to get the memories of the previous Doctor, of, 1 to 14. So I don't feel we've gained anything. There's the only baggage we will lose by 15 being a new Time Lord is the Doctor no longer has a granddaughter called Susan. And that's not losing baggage. That's a bad thing. Because, like, everyone wants Susan to come back, including Carol Ann Ford. There's no way in hell we're not getting a Susan episode. It's got to be something planned that Russell has. And, like, unless Carol Ann Ford dies suddenly and unexpectedly, we're getting that episode with, like, 15, I have to imagine. So, yeah, no, I think it still feels weird, the Doctor retiring. I think you can justify it with the universe is literally 37.5% the size it was when the Doctor left Gallifrey as William Hartnell, and it is arguably his fault. He'll see it that way, and I can understand that. I just struggle to see him retiring. Even in Day of the Doctor, when you have the curator, who, like, is all but said to have retired and now runs the museum. And I know Colin Baker did a thing as the curator's Big Finish. I haven't listened to it. But that felt odd. The only reason I was like, okay, is the assumption that this Doctor, now to the point of revisiting Faces, is so far in the Doctor's future that he basically has seen it all. Like, he just has seen it all. But I can see it be cool if we kind of have the 14th Doctor actually does settle down and, like, now just curates that museum. It makes sense for it being the essentially 10th Doctor, who was always more yearned for that kind of settled down life, especially after the Time War. But also just think of how they left Yasmin, who was apparently important to her. I think you can make it work, and Russell's good at character writing, but I just want to follow the Doctor. I think that's very important to me, that Doctor Who follows the Doctor, and not like someone else who took up the mantle. I think it should follow the Doctor. I don't think you gain anything from being a new person. And I think you lose a lot. But hey, we'll see. We'll see. I might start next episode really angry. I might have to bring this thing back. Hey, welcome to this. Oh my gosh, I'm moving the wrong layer. Yeah, this thing is, God, what was that from? Spock Amok from Strange New Worlds. An episode I was absolutely sure I would hate and ended up being quite fun. There we go. I still save that. But yeah, hey, at the very least, hopefully we'll have some fun with Christmas goblins. Like, if they do that, if they swap out the Doctor, I'll still probably watch it. I'll still probably get over it. I mean, I'm watching it past the Timeless Child, past Chibnall. But, I'll probably watch it with the headcanon that never happened, you know? But hey, we'll see. It should... I'll tell you what, at the very least, it's gonna be interesting. And we've only got, like, 3 weeks till Christmas. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3-4 weeks? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But I would like to say thank you all for watching. We will be here, should be noon next week for... God, what was it called? The Giggle? Such a dumb name. I love it. Oh, no, I want to say another complaint. Wild Blue Yonder. I don't really get why the TARDIS played a war song. That feels kind of pointless and tacked on. Like, unless that comes up next episode, that just feels really random. It didn't really work for me. But anyway, yeah. I don't know. You probably could have had a better title for that. But anyway, yeah, I will be here next week at noon, and I don't know how we'll do the Christmas special, but hey, this is something I never say. There's a subscribe button, isn't there? You could hit the subscribe button, then notice when I'm going to do the Christmas special, probably the day after. I don't know, maybe I'll start with Alex, and, like, we'll watch it on Christmas and do it, but we'll see. It won't be long after Christmas, but I probably won't do it on Christmas. So yeah, I will say thank you all for watching, and where's my stop recording button? I will